And straight ahead on 7 News at noon, looks like many got an early start to their holiday travel. Details on how many people AAA predicts will hit the road. Plus, this weekend during your Black Friday shopping, you can take advantage of Small Business Saturday, too. Hi, Brian.
Hey, Allison. Outside, the winds have changed, bringing a little bit of a different pattern after a soggy Wednesday. Sunshine and breezes. It looks nice into the holiday. The news at noon. The last time with Allison Starling, right after this.
Seven News on your side at noon.
And good afternoon, everybody. Thank you for joining us on this Wednesday. I'm Allison Starling. Just one day until Thanksgiving, so expect the roads and the airports to be really busy. In fact, AAA predicts more than 1 million people are heading out of the D.C. region. The best time to drive today is before 2 p.m. or after 6 p.m. Meteorologist Brian Vandegraff is here. He has a look at the forecast, and boy, it looks really nice today. Yesterday, though, what a mess for all the travelers.
Yeah, it was a rough day yesterday, Allison, across the region. Well, let me tell you, we had all that rain and 2+ inches of rain, some spots upwards of 3. It was just a soggy, wet, raw day. But now we're starting to see some improvement. It was a little foggy earlier, but the clouds are starting to part. I want to talk about just how much rain fell yesterday. 2.16 downtown. 3.5 in Leesburg, 2.73 in Warrenton, 2.5 in Upper Marlboro. It was a soaker, but because the ground was so dry, and it's been so dry as of late, luckily, we didn't really have any flooding concerns. I want to show you this morning. We did start with some clouds and some fog, but now as the day progresses, sunshine. We'll go with kind of a partly cloudy sky as we head into the afternoon, and a little bit of a breeze at times as well. But with that westerly wind kicking in, it'll help elevate that temperature. And across the region right now, the numbers are already starting to climb into the 50s. I think we'll be in the 60s with a mix of sun and cloud, with just a little bit of a breeze out there. If you're traveling tomorrow, day of, still looking good. Breezy sunshine, but mild as well for Thanksgiving Day. Black Friday, we do have a little bit of a chill in the air. Temperatures dropping back in the low to mid 50s. And by the weekend, dry for all your plans, but it will be colder in the 40s. You want to stick with us through the show, not only for the latest forecast, but as this is Allison Starling's last day at noon, we've got a lot of special people that are going to be making little cameos on the show throughout the day to share a few words with our lady of the day.
Aw, well, Brian, I mean, you and I have been friends for 20 years.
20 years.
And we have a lot of memories to share.
We do.
All right. We'll see you soon. Thank you so much. Well, time to talk a little bit about Thanksgiving as you get your groceries for tomorrow. Here's Joy Wang with more.
You know, I am in charge of mashed potatoes this year. Some would argue the most important side dish and also the most complicated. I'm just kidding. I know mashed potatoes are easy. That's why I got assigned those. And so I went to 4 different grocery stores to be able to find some of those Yukon potatoes. Thankfully, Gold potatoes, a good substitute. And so right now we are at the Safeway in Georgetown, and they've got a hefty supply of potatoes here. We're also seeing people out and about shopping as early as 6 o'clock this morning. But let's talk about that turkey, the star of the show. This is a frozen turkey here, and the USDA actually recommends a full day for every 4 to 5 pounds to thaw in the refrigerator. So hopefully if you have a huge turkey, it's already thawing in the fridge, because they want to make sure that is the safest way to be able to do that. You don't want to leave it out, letting it thaw at room temperature. Earlier, we were mentioning a whole lot of potatoes, and you are seeing a lot of onions in this area as well. But let's talk a little bit more about what happens after you do all that grocery shopping, right? You're starting to cook your Thanksgiving meal. Make sure the turkey reaches a safe internal temperature of 165 degrees. Once you've set your table, you'll want to put those leftovers in the fridge within 2 hours, and that fridge should be cooler than 40 degrees. After that, make sure to eat those leftovers within 3 to 4 days. And finally, when you do reheat everything, make sure it's also back to that internal temp of at least 165 degrees. By the way, the temperature danger zone is between 40 and 140 degrees, so let the food cool down before putting it in the fridge.
It is a good idea to make sure that you have an airtight container, just because things will get dry if you don't. You don't necessarily want food exposed to the outside air. And it's a good idea to make sure that you don't have a lot of condensation on the top of your container, because, you know, standing water can breed bacteria.
One of the reasons you want the food to cool down a little first is you don't want the fridge temperature to heat up, causing the food in the fridge to get into the danger zone. That's, again, between 40 and 140 degrees. Putting your hot food in a shallow container can help speed up that cool down process. Placing them farther apart in the fridge can help too. Okay, maybe you're not a planner and you've been doing some last minute grocery shopping, or you're planning to do it either today or on Thanksgiving Day. Got some bad news. These are very, very busy days. So even if you only have a couple items, maybe a head of garlic, don't expect to be heading into the grocery store and quickly getting out, because I am expecting some pretty long lines later on today at the Safeway in Georgetown. Joy Wang, back to you.
Well, this Thanksgiving, leaders in Charles County are also working to keep your families safe. They are bringing awareness to the dangers of drunk driving with their Drive Sober campaign. Starting today, drivers can get a discount code for a free Uber ride. That code will be released on the official Drive Sober webpage right here on your screen, and that's starting at 5 o'clock, and there is just a limited number of those codes available. Well, 7 News covering the crime crisis in the district today, and carjackings are approaching 900 for the year. One of them happened just Saturday in Northwest. And this morning, we're learning more about how it happened. The victims say their car was rear-ended, and when they pulled over, attackers with guns surrounded them, ordered them to get out of their car, and then stole it.
I had a gun to my chest, one to my face, and they said, give us everything you have.
It happened so quickly, it took me a moment to register what was going on, and I don't think the shock wore off until after they had left.
And 7 News on your side with what you should do if you get rear-ended and you feel like something is not right with the situation. First, don't get out of your car. You can call 911 from there and ask an officer to respond to the scene. Share your location, get a good description of the other vehicle. And if someone from the other car comes to your window, don't open it. Just roll it down a little bit. Tell them that you are going to wait for police in your car. Also, do not leave the scene unless you're in danger. Otherwise, you will be responsible for a hit and run crash. If you do leave the scene because of safety reasons, make sure you communicate that to the police and let them know exactly where you are. And a warning if you drive in the district. The D.C. Department of Transportation is adding speed cameras to 29 new locations across the city. The cameras will be placed along stretches of major roads like Rhode Island Avenue and New York Avenue. The speed cameras will start to go up at the end of this month. Once those cameras are in place, speeders will be given warnings for 30 days. After that, fines will start to go out to violators. Fees will range between $100 and $500. Well, after all the turkey and family time this week, your thoughts may be turning to holiday shopping, and it all starts with Black Friday, of course. But every year there's a push to shop local on Small Business Saturday, and nothing says small business in the DMV like Alexandria, Virginia. Melanie Hastings looks at how the city's pulling out all the stops to get you to shop locally this weekend.
One of Alexandria's biggest shopping weekends is Thanksgiving weekend. So we have Alexandria's Plaid Friday, which is what we consider our Black Friday, and then followed by Alexandria's Small Business Saturday. So this year we have more than 50 stores participating, offering some of their biggest deals of the year.
The majority of stores in Alexandria are family-owned businesses, and the holiday season can make or break their sales for the entire year.
At least a dozen of them are opening early on Plaid Friday, starting at 6 a.m. With early bird discounts. So perfect for those early shoppers who want to get out there. And then you also have, in-store treats, gift cards with purchase. And so you pop in that shop, you can get everything from home goods, children's gifts for your pets and such, and you're really greeted with that personalized touch from a local shop owner. Consumers are shopping, they're investing in the local community, and so really it's a great time for us to put on a promotion like that to attract those shoppers and to bring dollars back into the local economy.
And those local dollars are so important for a town's economy. Small businesses pay local taxes, which means any money spent there flows back to their communities, supporting things like parks, schools, and emergency services. Well, coming up here on 7 News at noon, details on a deal reached between Israel and Hamas on a humanitarian truce. Plus, we're on your side with a reminder how to correctly use a space heater to stay warm this winter.
It's been a pleasure working with you over the years. We've had so many laughs on camera, off camera, on set. I mean, you name it. It's been such a thrill working with you. It almost doesn't feel like work when we're on the set together, and I mean that.
In D.C., the council approved Mayor Bowser's emergency declarations addressing rising youth crime and the opioid crisis. However, there are restrictions. The council would only approve an emergency that lasts until February 15th. An effort to give the mayor a blanket emergency for as long as she sees fit was rejected in an 8-5 vote. You can read more about the declarations on our website, WJLA.com. And next week, D.C. residents will get the chance to make their voices heard on Mayor Bowser's effort to combat violent crime. Her Act Now proposal would make it possible for police to detain a juvenile who doesn't have a firearm at the time. It would also create criminal penalties for organized retail theft and give the MPD chief the power to declare temporary drug-free zones, which would allow them to force people loitering to move along. The bill's public hearing is set for November 29th. Well, in the Middle East now, Israel and Hamas agreed to a temporary ceasefire. This pause in fighting is expected to allow for Hamas to release some of the hostages taken from Israel nearly 2 months ago. ABC's Justin Finch has more details.
After weeks of tenuous negotiations, Israel and Hamas striking a hostage agreement. It calls for Hamas to release around 50 hostages, including women and children held by its militants and other groups. That in exchange for Israel agreeing to release 150 Palestinian women and teenagers held prisoner. The U.S. working with Egypt and Qatar on the deal, which also calls for a 4-day ceasefire. Hamas says the pause will allow hundreds of trucks of humanitarian relief, medical aid, and fuel to enter most of the Gaza Strip, where living conditions are worsening.
I am very hopeful that there will be a pause. These hostages will begin to be released.
The White House says at least 9 Americans and 1 green card holder are among the missing. The U.S. says 3 Americans could be among the hostages set for imminent release. The youngest, 3-year-old Abigail Moore Adon, whose parents were killed on October 7th when Hamas militants stormed Israeli border towns in a surprise terrorist attack.
Until we actually see Abigail and other children come out of Gaza, I really don't think I will let myself really believe that she's free.
In Israel, families of hostages are demanding their leaders prioritize freeing their loved ones. This woman is hoping her 12-year-old son will be released soon.
Why they have to suffer? Why they have to suffer so much?
Israel's prime minister insisting the 4-day ceasefire does not mean its war is over, saying the fighting will continue until Israel eliminates Hamas and brings all hostages home. President Biden is calling the hostage deal a testament to diplomacy, saying in a statement that he will be in close contact with the leaders of Egypt, Israel, and Qatar to ensure all aspects of the deal are fully implemented. Justin Finch, ABC News, Washington.
And right now, there is a heightened alert here at home as the war in the Middle East plays out. We continue to see people gathering for protests and rallies in the district and across the nation. And with the holiday approaching, authorities say they are ready for even more mass gatherings. The FBI and Homeland Security warn the Israel-Hamas war has, quote, created a heightened threat environment. From the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade to other events across the country, we are also seeing a rise in hate crimes.
You know, parents have had to have difficult conversations with children who've asked, is my dad safe because he's brown?
Park officials say they expect almost 3.5 million people to be watching along the parade route. At this time, there are no specific threats. Well, the leader of the Maryland chapter of the Council on American Islamic Relations, or CAIR, has been suspended from a state commission on hate crimes. Zainab Chaudhry was taken off that commission by Attorney General Anthony Brown. She made posts on social media allegedly critical of Israel's actions in response to the October 7th attack by Hamas. The Attorney General's office says, quote, Ms. Chaudhry's posts on her personal social media since October 7th in these very early days of this commission have challenged the commission's ability to do its work. Chaudhry, meanwhile, says this suspension infringes on her First Amendment rights. Well, coming up on 7 News at noon, looking like the rain has gone just in time for the holiday weekend. Meteorologist Brian Vandegraff is back with your first alert weather after this.
The hairstyles.
Look who's that young lady.
Different outfits.
Oh, Doug.
Through the years. Yeah, today it is a bittersweet day for us because as we've been telling you,
Leon.
Uncle Leon there, after 20 years. Look at Joe Whitty.
Oh my gosh, and Sanae Simpson.
Holy moly.
Look at all the
a
friends. Caroline Lighters.
Wow. Wow. The funny thing is, it's been 20 years. Hard to believe this.
There's
that old morning team. Look at that.
Look at those young people.
We were babies. Listen, after 20 years, Allison Starling is stepping away from the desk to take a little break for some time for herself and her family. And just the other day, Steve Rudin and I got to sit down with her to hear some of the highlights of her time here at WJLA. Take a listen.
The main thing is just that we've had the opportunity to be part of the fabric of a community, that it can be so supportive and exciting, and there's just so many opportunities here. And to have people welcome you into that as part of it is really, really special. I'm going to miss it a lot.
Now you got to make sure you tune in throughout the day here, and of course by ABC 7 News at 6 tonight. We'll have a special farewell to Allison. And from all of us here at the show, you know, this is a very hard day because we've known each other for 20 years.
I know.
I was saying earlier, we knew each other before we were married, before we had children. I think I even looked up, it was before the iPhone.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, we worked on that early morning shift, Good Morning Washington, which, by the way, people still tell me, I used to love watching you and Doug and Brian, and that was so many years ago. Right. But when you get up at that time of day with the same people, you bond with each other, and you guys are family to me. I mean, you've been through so many things with me, and I have watched your beautiful family grow. But we've had this constant of Channel 7 together, and it's really special.
I know, we know things about each other that we probably wouldn't want to know about each other, but it's what happens.
Yes, we do. That's why we're staying friends after I leave.
Exactly.
And I just want to say, I don't know if I'm going to have time to do this later, but to our noon show crew, my producer, LaTanya, who gave me a beautiful bracelet today. La, I love you so much. Glenn, our director, who I've worked with for 20 years. Glenn decorated my office this morning. And the whole morning crew, I love you guys so much. And you've made this a real pleasure every single day. Brian, that goes without saying, you're one of my closest friends in life. And I'm going to miss seeing you every day, but I know we will stay in touch and see each other a lot.
How am I supposed to do the weather now? I love you, Allie.
I'm sorry.
Let's talk a little weather, lad. If you got to cut me on the weather, it's fine. We'll get through. It's a fine day out there. Oh, my goodness. My mascara is running. Just kidding. I don't wear that yet. One day. All right, let's talk what's happening out there with just some of those scattered clouds as that cooler air continues to permeate in. Yesterday, we talked about it. We picked up 2-3 inches of rain that fell across the area. And today, the rain is drying out because we've got some sunshine breaking through. Plus, we have a bit of that wind out of the west-northwest, 5 to 10, 15 miles per hour. So that's helping to dry us out. But also, as the winds come down the mountains, compressing and warming us up a bit as well. So mid-50s is right where we should be for this time of year. And I think we may even get a little bit closer to 60 degrees before it's all said and done. In fact, boom, we get 60 just downtown. How about that? 57 in Upper Marlboro, 55 in Gaithersburg, 57 in Warrenton. And you can see on the big picture here, the showers have finally exited, except for down the Tidewater. There's a little moisture there. And if you have travel plans today that are taking you to the northeast, to Boston or up towards Portland, to Maine, there's some rain and even some snow on the eastern side of this system, but it's all moving out and we will see some improvement. As far as today, we're good to go tomorrow as well. So right around 60 here early in the afternoon, then we'll start to see that cooler air sinking in through the afternoon. Temperatures will drop back through the 50s and into the 40s, and tonight will be a cool one. Still a little bit of a breeze around with scattered clouds. Tomorrow, Thanksgiving Day, a very similar pattern with sunshine, breezes, temperatures once again in the mid to upper 50s, but I want you to enjoy tomorrow because after tomorrow, looking ahead, we stay below average temperature-wise for a long stretch of time. So we're going to get into a much cooler pattern. I put the shopping bags on there for Friday because it's Black Friday if you're doing some of that shopping. Saturday and Sunday, notice Saturday's highs only in the low to mid 40s. Mid to upper 40s for the day on Sunday. As far as the extended outlook, I think for traveling home from Grandma's house, we're all good to go. And as I said, into next week, we are going to stay on the chillier side because our average is 56. So today and tomorrow, that's it. And then we are below average partly to mostly sunny and dry Saturday, Sunday, and even into early next week. So luckily we got all that rain. I'm excited to see the drought update tomorrow because that'll give us an idea of just how much of a dent that big rain put in our neck of the woods.
Yep.
Let's look at the forecast.
Thanks, Bri. Well, coming up next on 7 News at noon, as a local restaurant prepares to give away Thanksgiving meals, they will demonstrate how to safely fry a turkey.
You were always that calming presence in my ear when I'm live in the field or at the desk. With the craziness of television, you always had that way about you that made it seem like everything's gonna be okay.
The JFK Presidential Library in Boston is commemorating 60 years since the death of President John F. Kennedy in Dallas, Texas. The library typically focuses more on Kennedy's life and legacy rather than the assassination, but this week only, special items are on display. They range from condolence mail sent after his assassination to a shell casing from the last round fired during the military salute at his burial.
It just in a very small capsule conveys the importance of that occasion. It's some things that you ordinarily would never see. I hope they'll take away a sense that they can make a difference, that they have a voice, that they have a civic responsibility, and perhaps they will do something in terms of public service coming out of this exhibit.
And today, in fact, marks 60 years to the day since the assassination of JFK. Kennedy was just 46 years old when he was killed. Coming up on 7 News at noon, fired, then rehired. Sam Altman's return to OpenAI.
I would show up in the studio, and there was Allison with her bright, cheery, smiling face, and it kept me going. Literally, it kept me going for 70 years. I'm really fond of the memories, really am. Best of luck, Allison.
Allison Starling, it's Lisa Baden. You know, from back in the day, Good Morning Washington. Well, Dr. Seuss said, don't cry because it's over, smile because it happened. Congratulations on your retirement. Oh, Cabana Boy.
Hey there, Allison. Congratulations on 20 wonderful years at WJLA. We're going to miss you at that anchor desk, that signature smile of yours. We know you're saying goodbye to start a new chapter so you can spend more time with your lovely family, your daughters, Ava and Emma, your beloved husband, Peter. Allison, we wish you all the very, very best.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Brian, when I saw Doug and Lisa, that takes me back to our days on Good Morning Washington, and Robin, because we used to do these really awesome, what we call talkbacks every morning, and we would talk to Robin, Diane Sawyer, and they were like our friends that we saw every day. So that really takes me back to some good memories. And you were part of those.
I know. I think we were so much younger. But we're like fine wine. We just keep getting better with age, Allison.
Is that what we're going with?
Wink, wink. Let's talk about what's happening out there. Man, look at these clouds. We do have some scattered clouds out there. That morning fog did burn off. We do have those breezes that have picked up out of the west-northwest. And as I was talking earlier, I thought we'd probably get to around 60 degrees, which we've reached downtown. Mid and upper 50s from College Park to Gaithersburg. 52 a little cooler in Frederick. And we kind of probably hitting that peak right around now. And then as we drop into the afternoon, our temperatures are going to start to drop as well as some of that cooler air starts to spill in here heading into the evening and the overnight hours. Those breezes will be off and on actually through the afternoon and into tonight as well. In fact, tomorrow I think we'll continue with those breezes, but nothing so extreme. Here's some of our speeds out there, 10 to 15, some higher gusts from time to time. Still looking gorgeous for your Thanksgiving day with plenty of sunshine, a little bit of a breeze. Black Friday a touch cooler, but the weekend, it'll be a reminder that indeed, we are in November, chillier temperatures in the 40s for Saturday and Sunday. But hopefully we're here to warm your heart.
Yes, absolutely. And speaking of chillier temperatures, this is important because as the temperature drops, people are plugging in space heaters to try and keep warm. But that can be dangerous if you don't do it correctly. The National Fire Protection Association reports space heaters were responsible for the largest number of homes lost to heating equipment in recent years. One of the biggest mistakes firefighters see is people plugging space heaters into extension cords.
Globally, the fire service sees more home fires in the colder months because there's just many factors, whether they're using supplemental heat sources, they may be using their fireplaces, they may just be home cooking more, so cooking fires.
And Hodges says the best way to stay safe is keep the space heater 3 feet away from anything else and plug it directly into the wall. Well, as many prepare their Thanksgiving feast, some may want to fry their turkeys. 7 News' John Gonzalez visited the restaurant Medium Rare, getting ready to fry hundreds of birds.
Fried turkey is so yummy on Thanksgiving, but it can be very dangerous if you're doing it at home. Mark Bucher is very busy these days, the owner of Medium Rare. Not only are you prepping 3,000 meals, you're running your nonprofit Feed the Fridge, but of course, you're operating the fried turkey operation, which is something you've been doing since 2007.
Yeah, you know, a lot of people get free turkeys and they don't have anywhere to cook them.
That's such a good point.
Yeah.
All these donations, and where do you cook them?
And where do you cook them? Have the wherewithal, the knowledge, or maybe they're scared. Frying turkey at home, super dangerous. Be really careful. Don't put cardboard down. Do it outside. Have a dry powder fire extinguisher, baking soda, oil 350, a completely thawed turkey. Godspeed.
You've got your staff busy at work here. 3,000 senior citizens will be getting your meals here. We've got Ulysses, the manager here at Medium Rare. He's going to pull up a turkey we've been frying.
By the way, nice hat. I think it needs to be mentioned. We got to point out the hat here. So yeah, we dropped this turkey earlier to show you, but you know, putting it in and pulling it out, really dangerous. This is where all the problems happen. You cook to 174 degrees between the leg and the thigh. Pull it out, drain all the oil out, let it rest. This will stay hot for hours.
Really? Hours.
So, you put it right next to you. This will stay hot for hours. So you can pull it out 2-3 hours for Thanksgiving dinner and you're totally fine. Beautiful, not dry, fully cooked. And we deep fry them on Thursday, not because deep frying is cool, because we can do a lot of turkeys in a short amount of time. It's 25 minutes start to finish.
So the Cleveland Park location is doing the free turkey fry. Of course, you can donate to the nonprofit Feed the Fridge, and they ask that you make sure that the turkey you bring tomorrow is thawed and between 8 and 12 pounds.
Yep.
You're doing wonderful things in the community, Mark.
Thanks.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. Yeah, back to you inside.
Developing overseas now, the United States is fighting back following Monday night's attack on U.S. and coalition forces in Iraq. U.S. Central Command says American fighter jets struck 2 sites in Iraq last night used by Iranian-linked militants. This was the 4th round of airstrikes in response to Monday's attack that injured 8 U.S. service members.
Immediately following the attack, a U.S. military AC-130 aircraft in the area conducted a self-defense strike against an Iranian-backed militia vehicle and a number of Iranian-backed militia personnel involved in this attack.
Some Iranian-backed militants are believed to have been killed in those U.S. airstrikes. Since October 17th, U.S. forces have been attacked at least 66 times in Iraq and Syria. Now to that U.S. Navy plane that ended up in the water when it overshot a runway at a base in Hawaii. 9 crew members and passengers were on board. All of them are okay. The Navy is investigating how this incident happened. Melissa Aden has the details.
A potentially deadly disaster was averted after this Navy P-8A Poseidon patrol jet ended up in the water. The military says conditions were cloudy and rainy at the time, with visibility limited to about a mile. Officials say the plane skidded along the runway before overshooting it while attempting to land at the Marine Corps base in Oahu, about 10 miles north of Honolulu. Fortunately, the water in the bay was shallow, and authorities say all 9 people on board made it out safely. The P-8A is often used to hunt for submarines and is used in reconnaissance and intelligence gathering. A floating barrier was put up around the jet to prevent any fuel or other contaminants from polluting the water and nearby coral reefs. The plane's crew are stationed at Whidbey Island in Washington state, and they deployed to Hawaii on a rotational basis. The Navy is now investigating what went wrong. Melissa Adon, ABC News, Los Angeles.
A federal court of appeals panel in Richmond is striking down Maryland's handgun qualification license, essentially a law requiring a permit just to buy the gun. The law in question requires gun buyers submit fingerprints, go through a background check, take a 4-hour safety course, and a $125 application fee. The court ruled these requirements together are unconstitutionally restrictive. Well, Sam Altman is returning to the artificial intelligence company OpenAI as its CEO. This comes just days after he was ousted and after Microsoft hired him to lead a new AI group. On Monday, nearly all of OpenAI's roughly 770 employees signed a letter saying they would quit if he were not reinstated. Altman says he has Microsoft's support for his return to OpenAI. Well, home sales continue to remain at their lowest level in 13 years. Janae Bowens explains what's stopping young adults from buying their first home.
Realtor Montez Dash is seeing a trend.
A lot of them are compromising from the dream of owning a townhome or single-family home and going to a condominium.
Younger people are having a hard time buying homes.
More people who are buying houses now are already established in the market, probably second-time home buyers.
New research from the National Association of Realtors shows the average first-time home buyer was 35 years old. In 1981, they were 29. This year's typical repeat buyer was 58. In 1981, they were 36.
It's taking people longer in life to be able to build up their financials and be able to compete against buyers in low inventory and be able to enter the home buying game.
The median household income of buyers was $107,000. That's almost $20,000 higher than it was last year. Experts point out the financial burden of higher home prices with limited supply and higher mortgage rates, which are above 7%. But things could get a little easier for younger Americans as rates are dropping and are expected to ease a bit in the spring.
They will likely be getting lower rates and not likely be getting lower prices, given that there will be a rush of demand and buyers into the market.
The national median price for a house is nearly $395,000. Now, experts tell me younger buyers are turning to stocks, bonds, and even selling cryptocurrency for additional financing to buy a home. In Washington, I'm Janae Bowens.
And coming up on 7 News at noon, a financial surprise for a New Hampshire town after the death of a resident who was best known for being frugal. But first, Stacey Bell has today's America's Steals and Deals.
The following segment is sponsored by Naki.
I've been doing a lot of research on security cameras because you have to keep your home and your family safe, and there's always a sacrifice until I found the Ola Smart Security Camera. There is nothing else like this on the market. You want to know what sets it apart? The artificial intelligence, AI. You can talk to this camera, it understands you and answers you. I could say, "Hola, did Danielle come home last night?" It answers me and sends me a clip of her coming into the house. It can do that because it has body, face, and voice recognition. So you can program it to recognize your family members or friends who are constantly in and out of your house. It uses an app, so it's really easy to use. Another feature that we really like is the fall alert. If you have older parents and it's hard for them to maybe get into and out of your house, Ola will alert you if they fall. You can talk to them, you can send help, and tell me this, who isn't worried about porch pirates? There's also a package alert, so you know exactly when your packages were delivered. They really thought of everything. Ola was developed by ex-military officials, and every safety feature that you could think of in a smart camera, they really did it here. Right now, we're offering 30% off on the Ola Smart Security Camera. Head over to asadeals.com for this exclusive offer.
All right, Brian. So Steve is off for Thanksgiving, and I hope he's having a great time with his family. And it's really nice that you were able to step in and fill in today on my last noon
show. But all throughout the day, we're looking back.
Yes.
So, you know, throughout the afternoon, and then the 4 and the 5 and the big
6 o'clock.
6 o'clock grand, you know.
Yeah. Well,
grand
thanks
display.
for all the help. I know you were responsible for getting some of those videos put
I have
together.
some of the old,
and
I went back to
pictures.
the old film room.
We go way back.
Way back.
Weather-wise, people are gathering with their families, and I guess yesterday was a mess for travel, but it's nice that that's behind us
Yeah,
now.
for the most part, it's all gone. The last lingering part is like far in New England. So if you're heading to Boston or up towards Maine, that's the last little straggler, but that's moving out later today. And if you're doing day trips tomorrow, we should be good to go. Just a little breezy. Take a look outside right now. The cameras do show some of those scattered clouds, but I love the camera that's just around the corner from our studio here at the Netherlands Carillon Bell and looking into the city. Look at all that blue sky. Now, there are some clouds in other spots, so we do have some clouds, and that's why I said it's a kind of a mixed sky day with a partly sunny setup, and temperatures already near 60 degrees. Those winds coming down the slopes of the mountains do compress the air and help warm it up a bit. Eventually, some of that cooler air will start to spill in, and even though we have some sunshine out there, it'll start setting earlier, and then the cooler weather will start to kind of descend upon us. Man, the trees pretty much bare out there, but still a little bit of color left over. 55 over at Margaret Pierce Elementary School at this hour, 57 in Bowie at St. Pius X. Haymarket over at Prince William County Fire and Rescue number 15. It is 55 degrees and 54 right now at the Maryland Soccerplex up in Boyd's, Maryland. As you look at those wind gusts out there, they've been as high as 25, 28 in Leesburg, 23 in Frederick. So a little gusty at times, but once again, out of the west-northwest, it's not a super cold wind. As we look at temperatures through the afternoon, we kind of peak here right around the lunchtime hour, 1, 2 o'clock. Remember, the sun's down now at 4:50. And as we head into the evening, those temperatures will drop back through the 50s and eventually into the 40s as we head late tonight into tomorrow morning. Probably will land somewhere in the low to mid 40s downtown, but I do think we'll have some 30s in the burbs early tomorrow morning. But as far as the whole day itself for Thanksgiving, it's still going to give it a 10. I mean, it's going to be nice. Plenty of sunshine, mid and upper 50s, right where we should be, if not slightly above. A little bit of a breeze, but mild as I go out and walk off some of that pie. Heading into the 10-day trend here, you kind of see that our average high is 56. So today and tomorrow we are above average, but then for Friday, Black Friday shopping, temperatures drop back, and over the weekend, we're struggling to get out of the 40s. It'll be dry, but it'll be chilly, and we'll keep it chilly and dry, not even just to the end of the week, but all the way through the last couple of days of November and the start of December. December kicks off next week, you can believe that. We'll be keeping temperatures on the cooler side for the foreseeable future. Let's look at the forecast, Allison.
Thank you. And a look now at an event in D.C. aimed at giving back to the community. The annual Safeway Feast of Sharing took place this morning at the Washington Convention Center. Mayor Muriel Bowser was there delivering her remarks. Since 1999, the event has brought together more than 1,000 volunteers every year. They serve a Thanksgiving meal and deliver winter clothing to residents in need. Attendees also receive packages with personal care items, including toothpaste, socks, and gloves. Well, it is the season of giving, and one Maryland man is literally going the extra mile to feed community members in need. He started using this food truck during the pandemic, not to sell meals, but to give them away. His mission to create a hunger-free zone took off from there. Now, 5 days a week, he and his team of volunteers are hard at work in Catonsville, packing about 200 meals.
To me, it's invigorating. And actually, it's part of my devotional service. Service to the Lord means caring for and sharing for his other people, too. They might be having a bad day, but when they see the truck and we come up, they smile. You know, it's a genuine happiness. And they get a free meal, and they know it's good.
The team delivers food to several organizations, and they still have meals left. Then they go street to street, handing them out until they're all gone. According to Hunger Free Zone's website, they have now donated more than 56,000 plates so far. And as we prepare to give thanks, a New Hampshire man is being remembered for his generosity. Longtime resident Jeffrey Holt passed away earlier this year at 82. He lived in a mobile home. He was known for using his lawnmower to get around town. But what residents didn't know was that he was well off. In fact, he left nearly $4 million to that town. He grew up frugal. He made money investments into communications, and apparently it paid off for those 4,200 residents. Well, coming up on 7 News at noon, from Thanksgiving right into Christmas, the return of holiday traditions by the U.S. Postal Service.
Allison, this is Travis, your favorite film critic on Fridays. I want to congratulate you on an amazing career and what I'm sure is going to be an amazing retirement. You've made talking about movies the most enjoyable part of my week. You make everything so much fun. Your enthusiasm is infectious, and I hope after this that we still get to talk about movies every now and then.
A more than century-old holiday tradition is back, and this year it's starting earlier than ever. The U.S. Postal Service just launched Operation Santa. It helps ensure children's letters make it to the North Pole. To participate, kids need to use their full name, a return address, a stamp, and Santa's correct address. And you can find that on the Postal Service's website. And a reminder that 7 News is once again teaming up with the Marines for the Toys for Tots drive. You can scan the QR code or go to WJLA.com to see the wish list. Your donations help ensure every child in the DMV gets a gift this year. Toys can be purchased online or dropped off at one of 3 in-person drives. One more break, and then Brian's back with a final look at your forecast.
Hey Allison, it's ABC News Political Director Rick Klein. I have cherished our regular chats on WJLA and elsewhere over the years, not just because you ask the best questions, not just because you have the most insightful takes and you bring out the best in the journalists around you, but because you're just such a wonderful person.
Well, look what happened when we went to a commercial break. The entire crew came out and surprised me with balloons and beautiful flowers and a cake. And I mean, this is so special. I can't get over it.
It's been a long time for us, so I got us a good little bottle of bubbly.
Nice. Are we going to drink it right now?
No. But honestly,
Thank
I mean, you know, we've been friends for 20 years, so obviously this is very hard for me here, but I'm super excited for you and your family, as we all are. You can see by the amount of love that's coming out here. Everyone,
Can the crew come come
on
up
over
here with us, please?
You're just so fun
They're
to work
all standing around.
And, you know, there's going to be
Come
a
on,
void
Dan.
here because you just bring such a positive
Come on, Kim.
personality and a happiness.
Come on, Kia. Reggie, come on.
you know.
Lanice, you could come.
It's going to be a tough
Come
time.
on.
Come on in, everybody.
This is our work family.
This is what makes it all so special.
And this is going to be really hard to say goodbye to these people who
show off this cake.
I got it. Careful, don't.
I gotta
don't
get
drop
a little
it.
finger up here. So
It has my face on there.
Can you?
Yes. Guys,
Which
I
way
just
you
want to
need to
say
go?
thank you to everybody
Which camera are we looking at?
for making every day at work really, really fun. And we had a job to do, and we came together as a team. And I'm just so grateful. And the people who are in the control room who can't come out here because the show would go to black, thank you guys for everything. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone.
There's more all day. Stick around. Love ya.